Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Office Hours. I'm here today with Janessa,
Hi.
Pods of War.
And this is Omid, in case you didn't know.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Janessa and I were just talking about how we both haven't done this in a little while.
Yeah.
So expect a great show. Welcome to our new studio. It's actually one of our two new studios here at OPG. The last couple of months we've been broadcasting. The audio is super great. Yay! Also,
I guess we should have done a test recording.
I think Jammer was out there testing
Oh.
everything, but we'll get it sorted out. Just hang on. But also, my voice sounds terrible, so it may also partially be that.
Yeah.
I still haven't got my voice back from TWITCHCON. Sounds like I'm talking through a desk. We'll let Janessa talk. Does it sound like she is?
Am I talking through a desk fan? Because I'm at a completely different decibel than you. Well, I guess not decibel. What is it called? Pitch.
Yes. Oh, it's all
It's
bones.
all bones.
Good. Well, we're gonna
Should
work
I
on
go
that.
look at it?
And I don't know. It's up to the Jammer. We got the support staff out. It isn't just audio. Let's just blame Jamar. Yeah, that's good.
We knew that the video was going to be a little less frames because of our LEDs over here, but I don't know how audio lags, to be honest.
I think it's related to the lighting as well.
Turn all the lights off.
While Jamar is working on that, he is showing us the settings, which I have no idea what they're for. But it's nice to see folks in chat. I saw Cardboard Cowboy, who we got to spend some awesome time with at TWITCHCON. May or may not have gotten a little too drunk with him once or twice. I don't remember. I saw Sir Slaw in there as well. How you doing, man? A bunch of folks like Dracondius. I'm not sure how to say that.
Hi, Trav. Did you change your name? You changed your name. Eric's in here. We have Marcos.
Never ask. Nice to see you, man. And yeah, TWITCHCON was pretty cool. Let us know if anything that Jamar is doing actually helps. He's still diligently working on it. But yeah, this is our new studio. This is Studio 54. We have two studios in the OPG office now. If you've seen our previous shows, they were actually in a temporary studio, which is now Jen's office. But we have this studio. It's fixed, but not always a critic, Cardboard Cowboy. Always a critic.
It's fixed, but not perfect.
Okay, well, at least it's getting better. That might just be me talking at this point. But so this is our talk show studio, Studio 54. We also have sort of a single-person streaming studio called Studio 60, which is next door. We have this so that our employees, our clients, and just generally anyone who's in San Diego that needs a place to stream from has one. Like, for example, when T-Pain came by and needed to stream from our office. So I'm really excited. You can see this pretty cool background behind us. We actually have two other backgrounds if we want to make it look more like we're sort of homeless. We have a brick wall one, so we're like sitting outside like that scene in The Room. And then we have a black one that I'm not sure what that's for.
I'm not sure. That reminds me of we're going to do First We Feast.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do the chicken wing challenge because they just have a black room.
I was thinking for OPG After Dark.
Oh.
Yeah, turn the black lights on and see how weird it gets.
See who glows? I don't.
Yeah, we're still working on the camera settings, so it may be a little weird. I was told not to do this.
Yeah.
This would be very annoying.
Jamar said, "Don't do this."
Yeah, so we always listen to Jamar as the director of the show, as you can see. But there's still some camera settings to be adjusted with the new lighting. We kind of got everything in place a little bit before TWITCHCON because this is the busiest time of year, and obviously TWITCHCON makes it even busier somehow. So
How about my audio? I mean, you guys could just hear me talk. What? I don't. Well, then he said all muted, so maybe not.
Well, there we go.
There it goes. What goes?
Ooh.
You guys need to be way more descriptive. Oh.
This is like when we did our client town hall a few months ago,
Yes.
but the entire chat was just our clients, and so they all were just trolling us the whole time. So the mic's muted.
They were like the best.
It was
the best trolls.
Oh, but the clipping is fixed. Well, okay, cool. So now we can talk. Let's just start over.
Hi, Rose. We're gonna start the whole show over.
Yes.
Where's the game? Play Fortnite.
I'm gonna go watch Ninja. I heard he's a good streamer. Thank you for the host, Sir Slaw. Okay, great. Well, so my voice is still not great, no matter how good the audio gets, because I mean, TwitchCon ended what, 5 days ago, 6 days ago, and this is my voice still.
Yeah.
So.
I took about 3 days to get my voice back, but TwitchCon still feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of good and bad about having TwitchCon in San Diego is that, there's plenty of people that are hanging out after. I mean, we had Barry and Jeremy in the office afterwards. Dragon Force was still in San Diego on Monday. We put them on the tour bus. We're still having meetings even onto Tuesday. So it's really cool because since it's our hometown, right? Like, we're able to take people around and also pick up those extra meetings. So TwitchCon, how many TwitchCons have you been to?
This is my fourth one.
Fourth one. So you just missed the first one?
So I guess the first one was San Diego for me, 2016.
Okay. Yeah, that was the second one.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, the first one was San Francisco. It was all right. It was a little bit of like, what the hell is TwitchCon going to be? And then you've seen the rest of it.
Yeah. For me, it was like really cool to go full circle because when I was at 2016 TwitchCon, I had just started streaming. I had 30 followers, and I was like, oh, there's a convention in my city. I guess I'll go. I bought like tickets like the day before, and the first person I saw at the convention was Carnage. And I had no idea who he was. I just he had a panel, so I went to the panel and I learned about mods, and Barry was probably there. So to go from like my first TwitchCon experience to this one 4 years later has been like so cool.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see it kind of grow and evolve. And, this one felt like, for me, this was the best TwitchCon of any of them.
Totally.
And by a lot, I mean, not to knock on the other ones at all, but, this is the first year where, to me, it felt like it had a coherent, this is TwitchCon, this is who we are. People were asking about it. They're not like, what's just all these people? They're like, what's TwitchCon? What's Twitch? That there was a really good presence for it. And a lot of activities planned as well. I thought, OPG did a fair amount for our clients, but, every night there were 10 parties, there were brunches, there were, all day sort of suites that you could go hang out in, things like that. So it was busy. It was kind of crazy.
It was there was a lot to do.
And so for us, TwitchCon started, the planning started like 100 years ago. Started basically when last TwitchCon ended, but our first day of activities was Thursday. We actually had a bunch of our clients, let's say about 15 or so clients that got in early enough, came out to our office, and we did kind of a training day where we, had a few training sessions, workshops, things like that. Wanted to show people the space as well. We talk to them every day online, but it's not quite the same as seeing people. We did some headshots. So this is Haley Nick posing for photos. We also did some new company photos because mine looks really bad.
That's the only reason why we did it.
Yeah. Cardboard Cowboy. It is the alcohol that allows me to manage all those things. It's what makes it possible. But yeah.
He's a pro. You'll see him staying up super late, just networking with everybody, and then he's up early in the morning.
Yeah.
Time for meetings.
It's a rough job, man. But yeah, so the first thing we kind of did, gave people the tour of the office, obviously. But then we had a professional media coach named Sally Sherry. You cannot see this probably. Yeah, perfect. But Sally is actually someone I've known for years. She does professional sort of media training. She used to be a broadcaster herself for CNN and CNBC, 60 Minutes, New York Times. Yeah, basically everywhere. So she's fantastic. We used her when I worked at Sony, as well as at NCSoft. Basically, we would bring her in to talk to the developers that would have press interviews and things like that, kind of teach them about what to say and not say, and kind of some of the ways that journalists will try to get extra information out of you, and maybe, you know, understand when a journalist is going to write like the kind of story that you're hoping versus when you're going to end up in one of those smear pieces about why it's like Twitch is killing people 24/7. We've got the real scoop with Sir Slaw, and then it's just like a shot of him. He's like, they're all dying, you know, and that's it. And you're like, oh my God, right? So there's some really some tricks that you can learn, some ways to interact with journalists. So we wanted to bring in a professional to kind of yeah, it was a good impression of you, right? So, you know, we've got this like OPG media coaching sort of thing that she prepared. I don't know how to flip through it, but I've got all kinds of pages with training stuff on it, places for you to take your notes. I don't know whose this one is, but it says, stay cool. Losing your cool is bad. So they learned. Use analogies that can relate to their audience, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, really kind of helping people as, you know, people become more prominent in this industry, right? They're talking to journalists. We've seen some pretty sort of awkward things happen with streamers, you know, like when Ninja gave the interview about not playing with women and talking about why that is. And it's like, that might not have been sort of the best.
That's not how you phrase that.
But yeah, Felgon, it was pretty much the same training, you know, updated. There were some changes that were specific to streamers. Sally was really cool. She was working with our PR person as well as me to kind of adjust the content and talk about issues that come up for streamers all the time. You know, things like how women are treated, harassment on the platform, Gamergate, things that you may,
or how like video games are making everybody violent.
Yes, exactly. So in addition to that, we did workshops on how to buy your first home or home ownership, some of the strategies that you can take to make that easier. We had a guy from Morgan Stanley who came in and gave sort of a financial planning workshop that was really valuable. And then we also did a tutorial on IRL backpacks for people because we're getting a lot more sort of interest in IRL streaming as people are traveling
they are
more.
very complicated. So we needed to go over how to work with those. It's not so bad once you get used to it, but like the initial learning curve is a little high. It's always easier to like learn from a person than just try to have to research on Reddit and the internet how to work these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And then of course, to bribe everyone to make sure that they came, you have to have a good bribe, and ours was the best bribe, Korean barbecue.
Heck yeah.
So we actually had all of our clients that wanted to, except for Swag Dracula, who bailed on Korean barbecue.
Yeah, because he rented a yacht.
Yeah, he's like, I have to catch my yacht. I'm sorry.
I have to go for a sail.
He puts his little captain hat on and flies away because, you know, he's Dracula.
Yeah. I think it's just his ploy. He had to go like feed on some. He had to go suck some blood for the weekend so he'd be good.
Yes. But he looked very healthy the entire weekend.
He
so
did.
whatever it was that
Well-fed.
needed to happen, happened. That picture's for later. That was the bonfire. No spoilers, I think.
Wow.
Man, this show's amateur hour. Yeah, but it was really cool because the Korean barbecue we went to is actually one that Jen and I go to a lot. So
I've never been to that one.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
It was awesome. I think like half the clients that saw the menu though were like, "Oh no, what do I do?"
Yeah, but luckily we had some Korean barbecue veterans around and some suggestions and plenty of soju for everyone. We had a cute little bus to take people there and then take them to the Hard Rock afterwards. And oh yeah, there's a good picture. Cletus's first time KBBQ. Yeah.
Nice.
And it was just great. I mean, one of our goals when we do TwitchCon's a little bit different than most of the conventions because so many of our clients are there. And because our clients come from all different communities, they don't all know each other, right? Like I Ate Your Pie, for example. This was his like first show. It was the first time that I'd met him, and he was talking about, it's like, he's from the speedrunning community, and that doesn't overlap. I mean, it overlaps a little, with like Ithalian and Broman, people like that, but with most of our clients, it doesn't. And so sort of getting people to come together, get to know each other. There's a lot of opportunity for people to, work together, play together, learn from each other, all of that. And for people that, I mean, for me, TwitchCon kind of feels like camp. It's like all your friends are going to be there, but you haven't seen them in a year, so you don't know if they're still cool or if they're going to think you're cool. And so it's always a little awkward. So, we want to make sure that we created some spaces where people could just chill, meet each other, so they'd have a couple friendly faces around, and obviously meet the whole OPG team, because, we're here working every day for folks, and, there's a lot of people behind the scenes, so, if your account manager is Janessa, you may not necessarily know Jamar. But Jamar is doing, pretty much the same thing, just for different folks. So just getting people to kind of learn the whole team, meet people like our accountant, who's way more exciting than he sounds. That kind of thing was pretty cool. So yeah, we did that. Then that was pretty much it for Thursday, right? I don't remember what happened after that.
After Thursday, you either went to the Twitch party or the Discord party.
Yes, the Twitch had a partner party, and then Discord had a pretty raging party, from what I understand. I ended up going to the Twitch partner party. I think everyone else went to Discord, because the Twitch partner party is only for people that are partnered, no plus ones, nothing like that. So it's a very difficult party to kind of get people into. But, we want to make sure that we have people there as well.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing we did when people were in the office and just throughout the weekend is we gave them their OPG care packages for the show.
Oh, yes.
Which we have one here from someone who will remain nameless, Frisk. Who left?
Oh, fancy this, just sitting here.
So who left hers? But we'll try to get that out to her. But what is this thing called? It's like a
This is a fanny pack, but this looks like a very stylish fanny pack.
But it's like for your, it slings over.
We'll call it a sling bag.
Sling bag, that's the word. Yeah, so because Twitch had, pretty restrictive rules on backpacks and, other sort of storage devices, we wanted to give people something that, they could take cross-shoulder. They could take with them that would be, easy to use and have some useful stuff for the party. What else is in there?
So we have some temporary business cards. I know a lot of times when you're packing, you're getting ready for a con, you forget something. Normally, I always forget either my battery pack or my business cards. And apparently, I'm OBS Studio now. Because that's on my face.
Is that really on her face, or is that just what we see?
Oh, maybe that's just what we see. Oh,
okay.
The stream can't see it.
For us, Janessa's head has been
stream.
replaced by a giant OBS Studio rectangle. But we're good. Keep going.
This is professional,
that's even better.
Studio mode. So we make these business cards for all of our clients, just in case they're in an emergency where they need something and they didn't bring whatever branded ones they have. Actually, it looks like we have Frisk's logo right here, so did a little something extra for her.
Yes.
And, another thing I always forget.
Juice.
Juice. I always need a box of juice on me. In my head, that joke went better. But,
it also...
This is a battery charger. It looks like a cute little, apple juice box. It even has a straw. But if you open it up, it has the OPG branded, can I open it?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It opens from the bottom.
Yeah. It's a phone charger. And I don't know how many times Omid needed a phone charger this weekend.
Twice.
But.
And badly.
Yeah. So we had our clients covered there. And last but not least, we are in sunny San Diego. So you're going to need your sunnies. And these ones are fold out. So that way you can fit them in your pocket or your little crossbody bag.
Yes.
They look good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear these. I'm gonna keep them for the stream.
That's fine.
And then
I don't
send
care.
them to Frisk.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, and then you just fold back up.
But yeah, we try to make sure that we have little care packages. Obviously, at TwitchCon, we have a lot more people. We had a hospitality suite. So typically, we'll put things like Advil and hangover remedies and things like that in that.
Pedialyte.
But since we had so many people around and kind of a central source for them, we didn't jam that into everybody's bag.
Yeah, and then security would be like, why are you bringing all these things in?
But yeah, so we always try to take care of our folks, make sure that they have a good time. And let's see, what happened next? The next was the opening ceremony, right? Friday.
Yeah, Friday, opening ceremony. So Twitch has this big theater called the Glitch Theater every year, and they do a really cool ceremony, but this time, interesting, it wasn't in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
It started like around 4 p.m., but it was really cool, and we had a couple of our clients involved.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, so in the past, they've always been at 10 a.m., which is also when everybody's trying to get into TwitchCon, which has led, and people are still getting their badges. And so I know last year, and probably in years past, there have been a lot of people that have missed it. Number one, because they don't have their badge yet. Number two, there's already the huge line trying to get in. Mm-hmm. Now you have the other line for, getting into the panel.
Like in, I think it was Long Beach, where there was 2 different lines. Mm-hmm. You had to wait for line for the theater and then exit security and then go through security again to get to the expo hall. So it's like, well, then no one's going to go to the programming then.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one thing too one of the many reasons I think this was the best TwitchCon, and why I believe that next year is going to probably be substantially better than this year, is because, number one, the San Diego Convention Center is very well set up for this. Mm-hmm. Places like Long Beach and San Jose, they're set up for kind of smaller conventions. Not really. You would never expect like Apple to give their keynote in San Jose, right? So they don't have the like logistical capacity things that San Diego has just dealt with for years, because we have Comic-Con here. Mm-hmm. And Comic-Con, if you haven't been, is a whole other level of bullshit that, and everywhere we went, we're talking to waitresses or people, and they're like, it's like, oh, is it busy? And they're like, psh, we handle Comic-Con. This is nothing. I
think the same for us is that, like, we grew up going to Comic-Con, and we know how, like, we're prepared, and we know how strenuous that can be. So when it's like TwitchCon, we're like, oh, this is a breeze.
Yeah.
Got it.
And it's nice, too, because, that kind of made it sound bad, right? Like, TwitchCon was tiny. But Comic-Con is, like, my God, massive. And it's, like, overwhelming. Like, I really don't go to Comic-Con anymore unless I have a specific place. Like, I'm going to a bar or a party, mm-hmm. and, like, I just take an Uber there, and I take an Uber out because,
the whole city shuts down.
Yeah. And so TwitchCon felt like the right size. It was, everywhere was busy, but it wasn't insane. There was plenty of stuff to do, so it was awesome. But yeah, moving the opening ceremony later in the day, I think, gets everybody in. You won't have those complaints about badges. And because another problem TwitchCon has had over the years is that every year it moves. And if you've ever run an event, the hardest thing is just figuring out all these like little details. It's like, okay, well, why is this line not working? Or, we didn't have enough bartenders. Like, these things are hard to figure out, but you always go, well, next year we'll fix it because now we've seen how it works. But when you move every year, you have a new set of problems every year, and you can't really keep up with it. Mm-hmm. So I think the fact that TwitchCon is staying in San Diego means next year, and I really didn't see a lot of logistical problems. I didn't hear a lot of complaints. But next year will be even better because they'll have all the learning from this year to go on. So one of the learnings was put the opening ceremony later in the day. So it started at 4, and it wasn't just, a bunch of announcements, right? They actually took the time, Twitch has rebranded. We'll talk about that in a bit, but to really kind of show off, like, Twitch, its content, its creators, and, a special performance by one of our clients, Dragon Force.
So I think we have a link there that I think Jamar, our producer, could pull up, please, of Dragon Force playing at TwitchCon.
There's no audio, boo. Well, Herman is basically just saying that, everyone is awesome. He's thanking people for being there. He's actually calling out some people in the audience as well, talking about, other musicians, people that are on Twitch, that kind of thing. I love CTT says it'd be nice if they had a list of hotels that aren't near the convention center. One good thing about San Diego is like if you just go to hotels.com or a site like that, the city is so set up for conventions that it's really easy to sort. There's literally an area of San Diego called Hotel Circle. It's about 15 minutes away from the convention center that they built in I want to say the 50s or 60s. They built it out because they're like, shit, man, we're not going to ever have enough room downtown for all the people that want to come. And so Hotel Circle is just full of sort of infinite hotels. And yeah, again, not too far. A lot of the places have shuttles. That kind of thing. So there are plenty. You can go out into Point Loma and OB. There's stuff there. The whole city is really, really good for it. So I would just use hotels.com. Twitch is always going to be focused on the area right around the convention center. Because the experience of most of the people sort of at Twitch and the higher level content creators is they're going to be out very late all night. Yeah, we do that. I don't have it. But sorry, Jamar is talking to us through secret telepathy, and I have no way to respond to him, so I'm just talking to him.
One day we'll be really fancy with the in-ears where they can just speak to us.
Go to commercial.
Brain.
Go to commercial. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Dragon Force actually presented us with a gold record from Inhuman Rampage, which was awesome. We have it in the office now too. It's insane because for them playing the opening ceremony of TWITCHCON was super important. Herman has been streaming for getting close to a year, I'd say, and really kind of recognized the link. I mean, obviously he's known the link between gaming and music for a long time because they've been doing stuff with Guitar Hero, but really seeing that Twitch is a new way to connect with those audiences and be a rock star in a completely different way. So that's kind of how we got in touch with him. And the first time we ever talked was the day they announced TwitchCon's date. And he was telling me that their album was coming out September 27th. And I was like, well, that's a coincidence. Did you pick that date for any reason? And he's like, no, just, we were going to start the next week with our tour. So I was like, well, that's the first day of TwitchCon. You should play TwitchCon.
Yeah, this would be a perfect fit.
And, we talked to Twitch about it and kind of went through, it's obviously pretty complicated to get something like that set up, but they were super excited about it. We got it done. And Herman was telling a journalist, he was like, that's the show that he was the most nervous for in years, years and years. He's like, he made the band practice extra, because they really needed to nail it. And the journalist was a fan of Dragon Force, right? He'd already seen him 4 times. And he's like, what, really? You've been doing this for 20 years. And he's like, yeah, but connecting with the Twitch audience, that's the future for us. And, it was really cool to see somebody who's that level of a celebrity, that really kind of understands what it means to be a content creator. And watching, Herman just chill with our clients and, hang out, have a drink, shoot the shit. And he's already been on Kip Boga's show. Really cool to kind of see that link. And he's inviting people, he's come out on the tour, we'll get you backstage, all that stuff. So it's going to be a fun tour. Dragon Force just started. I think they're in Vegas tonight.
Okay.
And then they're going on tour for a very long time all over the world. So it's going to be really, really fun. We're going to try to hop up and see them at a show here and there. So
that's so cool that they did their kickoff here at TwitchCon though. And I can imagine how nerve-wracking that is because it's full of an audience of people that he looks up to because he has been streaming on Twitch all these years. It's not just a whole bunch of strangers you don't know. You look in the audience and you see the streamer you've been watching.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I never asked. OB is one of my favorite places in San Diego. We go there all the time. It's it's real weird and awesome. It's plenty of good places to eat, super cheap places to drink.
Yeah.
My favorite cheap bar is called Pacific Shores. It's creepy as hell in there. It looks like it was redesigned in the 50s to be like, you know, super exotic, like oceany themed, and it's got all these like black light erotic mermaids and like clams. It's like really disturbing, but the drinks are all like $2, $3. So, you know, it's just kind of this fantastic place.
Yeah. OB is a weird place, but
Yeah.
you have to go give it a visit.
How's it going, JJJ? Yeah, the cops are here. Nice to see you, man.
Hello.
But yeah, so the opening ceremony was fantastic. Dragon Force played. Kit Boga did a part with Zeke on stage that was really funny. It was just really kind of nice to see.
Is that when Kit Boga came out as Edna?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And they were doing, you know, there's a lot of sort of like back and forth about what they were going to do up there, but, you know, ended up being like really, I thought a really nice moment. And for Kit Boga, that was his first show, like his first big convention.
He was really nervous about it.
Yeah, and you know, so to get kind of recognized that way and be up on stage, and you know, he was super welcomed by everybody. Hey, Cobalt Streak, how you doing, man? Nice to see you. Yeah, everyone around you got sick, but you're not sick. No, so dude, so many people got sick. It was crazy. Most of the office avoided it, thankfully, but I think we had one or two. I didn't get sick, but Jen got sick. You know how it's just a convention, right? So there's almost nothing you can do about it. Proof you're not human. I know, right? But yeah, I mean, it just is what it is. So the opening ceremony was fantastic. You know, Twitch talked a little bit about their rebrand, which obviously if you're on the website right now, which, I mean, you must be, you can see it. But yeah, we're showing a little bit of the video, or just the logo apparently. But I really love, you know, there's a change in sort of the messaging from Twitch. You can even see it in like their descriptions on Twitter. It's a lot more about like the community coming together. I personally love the sort of rainbow inclusiveness part of it. You know, obviously that's always been in Twitch's DNA and our DNA. Like, I think as streamers, it's a very open and inclusive sort of thing. But I was really proud. I was proud to see that. I guess that's ironic because of pride, but you know, I was proud of Twitch for not only supporting that every day, but like even putting it into the logo. It's even in the site design now. When you hover over a stream, like it pops up a little bit and you get a rainbow color. So
and then they changed like the slogan. So the slogan is now "You're already one of us," which is again like inclusivity.
Yeah.
It's really sending the message that everybody has a place on Twitch and that you just have to find your place where you belong, where you fit in, and make content there.
I mean, it's like, I mean, I sort of measure the evolution of the game industry in my conversation with taxi and Uber drivers. Well, first it was taxis because there was no Uber. That's how long I've been doing this. But, you know, I'm always in town for a game convention. So they ask me like, hey, why are you here? And I just tell them it's like TwitchCon or PAX or whatever. And they're like, oh, what is that? I'm like, oh, it's about video games. Do you play games? Like, there's a long time where everyone's like, no, man, that's silly. You know, and then it became like, well, I don't really play games. And then I'd be like, really? Not even on your phone? And they're like, well, I play Candy Crush. It's like, well, that's a game.
Yeah.
You know, and then to like have my kids play. And I think it was really around when Fortnite kind of blew up. That's when like it suddenly seems like everyone's a gamer.
Yeah.
And, you know, so the message I would have for people when they're like, oh, I only play Candy Crush. Well, that's a game. You know, you're a gamer. Like, we're all gamers, you see? And Twitch.
I think we'll touch on it a bit when we get to Twitch Yearly, but even Twitch themselves dubbed this year as the year that everyone gets it, as far as like what Twitch is, what video games is.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and so you're already one of us. You may not know it yet, you know, is very true, right? Like I felt, I mean, even though it was years ago, when the first time I watched Twitch, I was like, oh, I get this. This is like, this is a place for me, right? This is fun. So I thought that was cool. You know, the website, like, it's like the new Twitter website, so it's dividing opinions to some extent. But, you know, I think it was a good time for a Twitch rebrand, sort of in terms of visuals and in terms of the language. The focus on promoting content creators, which is something they put a lot of effort into this year, I think was great. The fact that like the opening video and some of the sort of advertising things they're doing, where, you know, it's about like Anthony or it's about Sacriel. It's not about like, hey, Twitch is cool, you should come see it. We've got a bunch of streamers. It's like, you should watch this person. Like, this person is exemplary of what we do and who we are. I'm hoping that
I
this
think
is
he's
all
just
just
getting it ready.
experimenting because
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's some weird stuff happening now. But yeah, so after the opening ceremony and everything, there were, again, just every night at TwitchCon, a lot of these shows, there are just a bunch of parties. So I know Borderlands had a party, Tiltify and Main Menu had a party, which is really, the Main Menu party is like one of the sort of traditions of TwitchCon and traditions of, gaming events, for the last few years. It's run by Main Menu, which, is a stream team Cobalt Streak is involved in, a few of our clients have been involved in, and they decided like, hey, we need a place for, the kind of variety content creators to come together and meet each other and hang out,
talk and then it's sponsored by Tiltify, which of course works with all the charities on Twitch, so it's really good for them to meet all the streamers. And so that's, yeah, like you said, it's a tradition. That's really the one mixer where you can approach anybody and talk to anybody because they're all there just to meet you and make connections.
Hey, Kira Pai, how are you? It's nice to see you again. Yeah, it has been a while since EverQuest and Landmark, but now things are going well. I run this company, OPG, that's about content creators. Really, a lot of that happened because of things that I learned while working on EverQuest, and it's cool, so I'm glad you're here to hang out. But yeah, the Main Menu party, I think, is just, it's something that I'm always excited about. Like, that's one of the things I look forward to. And held the party at Float, which is this like great bar at the Hard Rock. It's on like the 4th floor of the Hard Rock. Has like a great view of the whole city, the convention center, and I've had some bad nights up there at conventions and not at conventions, but it's a fantastic venue.
That's also where we had our happy hour.
That's right, we did a happy hour conveniently right before that party.
Yeah.
And that was really cool because it was right around sunset. So the sunglasses came in really handy for people. Here's a great picture where Jamar just looks fucking fantastic. And, everyone else just looks okay standing next to him. But,
There's also Barry, our programmer.
Yeah. And Rose Snail, who was in chat a bit ago. I don't know if he's still here.
He lurks.
But, but yeah, I mean, it's just a beautiful venue. If you're at TwitchCon next year, there's always sort of some amount of folks hanging out up there, so it's a great place to go chill. Like, unfortunately at night, most of the nights at TwitchCon, you'll get kicked out because there's a private party, but it's a really good spot. And so that happy hour was nice. Just had probably 20 or 30 clients there, close friends of theirs, significant others, just kind of chilling, that sort of thing. And that was fun.
I think that was like the main place where our clients really got to meet each other if they hadn't already, and they were having a really good time. I think someone approached, like, I can't remember who it was, but one client was like, oh, hey, how are you doing? And the other one was just like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you knew who I was. So it's just a small world, and it was really fun.
Yeah. Never ask, why are you talking about our Saturday party? I mean, it's the Hard Rock, right? There's a lot of stuff going on there. It's so conveniently, next to the convention center. Most of our clients were staying there this year. I don't know if we'll have them stay there next year. I mean, obviously they stay wherever they want, but this picture is captioned, "Retro Gaijin eating my chicken wings." I don't know whose chicken wings they are, because I don't know who my is referring to.
It was definitely mine. I had a plate of chicken wings. I put them down, and then apparently just don't put your food down because Retro will
Yeah,
eat
not
them.
in front of Retro Gaijin. But that was awesome, and I think Thursday and Friday night Jen and I had like after parties at our house, where our house isn't too far away from the convention center. We know people probably want a place to kind of go chill because the bars close at 2. So we just have a few people over every night. We had, a few people that came. Elohim came, Burke Black, Sweet Anita. It was really cool to just kind of hang out in a much less stressful environment, have a couple drinks, and, talk to people that you really don't get to talk to, all nearly as much as you'd like to. So that was pretty cool.
And eat a whole cheese wheel, I heard.
Yes, there was a lot of cheese. Yeah, Johnny, I think all the mead got drunk. I haven't opened the aquavit yet. I actually hid it during
my
the
gosh.
parties because I wanted to save it for myself. But yes, that was nice. I would say probably the one thing that was most concerning at TwitchCon was sort of some of the security stuff. Thankfully, nothing too bad happened. I mean, there were a few incidents, right? Some people reported being roofied at parties. You know, Ammunition actually tweeted out from the Twitch partner party this, you know, about them just sort of having drinks out, which is obviously like a very dangerous situation. You know, those are just sort of asking to be roofied. Her tweet caused a lot of controversy, received a lot of sort of positive and negative criticism, and ended up on the news. It kind of went viral. But no, I was there too, and I saw that same thing, and I was like, that is not fantastic.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want to beat Twitch up too much about this because and I'm going to talk about some of the fantastic things that Twitch did as well. But, you know, for the party with sort of their most valuable people sort of all in one place, you know, that looked careless. And, you know, I really respect Anne for sort of bringing that up. And, you know, hopefully people at Twitch understand that it's not, you know, it's not a criticism of them like they're bad people and they want people to get roofied. It's, you know, that, hey, we don't want anyone to feel unsafe, and we certainly don't want anyone to get roofied. So next time, let's not do this. You know?
Right, and I don't think anyone's saying that like Twitch did this on purpose. It's more just like this is an oversight or maybe something that they haven't thought of. And even people, our clients have been roofied before. I think Zach from our office has been roofied before.
He dodged it. Well, unless that was a different time. But he definitely had somebody, I was at the party with him, and he definitely had somebody take his drink, turn around and act suspicious for way too long, and then give him his drink back. And then be like, yeah, here you go. And it's like, you know, thankfully Zach was clear-headed enough to just set that drink down somewhere. Of course, I told him, it's like, don't set it down, pour it out, because you don't want some random person to be like, cool, free drink, and then get roofied.
Yeah. I don't think that the point that no one actually got roofied is very valid because, like, thank God nobody did, but you still shouldn't have it. Still shouldn't have that security concern.
Yeah, and as Jen said, I think it's hard for companies to imagine their own people might drug drinks. They probably thought since it was for all partners, it would be fine, but people get partnered based on content, not how they act at parties. That's very true. And, you know, oh, see, here's a tweet about somebody who did get roofied. And that's the thing is, first, it only takes one person, you know, one bad actor. Even though you have tight control, right? You know, there was somebody there from Twitch checking the invite list, checking your invites, you know, doing everything that you're supposed to do. You know, it's quite possible that somebody, you know, it was an outdoor party with a big fence, but somebody could have jumped a fence. Somebody could have gotten in there with somebody else's invite. Or, you know, not all Twitch partners are the best people in the universe. Maybe, you know, there is a risk, right? And that's the issue is that minimizing risk is the way that you stop potential problems from happening. But yeah, I mean, we've had the same issue like when we discuss, you know, not just with Twitch, but with other companies as well, that we would like to have a member of our management team, you know, at a party with people to, you know, just escort them, make sure they're fine, make sure they feel comfortable. And, you know, when people say no, which does happen sometimes, the number one thing they say is, we're there, we're gonna take care of it, you don't have to worry, like obviously we're gonna protect people. And the reality is, that's true, you know, no company's throwing the party like, we want everyone to get roofied, right? Like, no one is doing that, like everyone has the best intentions, but, you know, I look at T-Pain, right? And T-Pain, you know, people take his security very seriously, and Twitch went, I would say, above and beyond with him and some of our other clients to make sure that they felt safe. But T-Pain still brings two of his own security guards to these things. Why? It's not that he doesn't trust the venue. It's not that he doesn't trust the people throwing the party. It's that those people have a lot of other things going on as well. So while they care about it, they're not accountable for it. And, you know, if somebody gets roofied at your party and then, you know, God forbid gets raped or murdered or something like that, it's very difficult to say that was the party organizer's fault and hold them accountable. Because, 9 times out of 10, it's not. It's just some terrible person who's taking advantage of the situation. It's their fault. But people who are concerned about their safety say, look, I understand you've got a lot going on. You're trying to take care of things. I need to take care of me, and this is how I do that. You've got to look out for your own people. And so that's where we sort of get into the friction of this with companies sometimes. But ultimately, we are responsible at a very high level for our clients' safety and feeling of safety. And so, we have a much greater responsibility to 10 people in the room, whereas, you might have responsibility for everyone in the room. And that's kind of where, some of this comes in. I know that, people like Keemstar started tweeting about it and saying it's like, oh, well, no one got roofied at that party, right? But, it doesn't matter. You never want anyone to get roofied. So let's try to minimize all the ways that that happens.
Yeah, he ended up apologizing and taking his statements back, that Keemstar.
That Keemstar. And then to touch a little bit more on security. So last year at TWITCHCON, right before TWITCHCON, there were a few really terrible things that happened in the game industry. There was the shooting in Jacksonville at that Madden event. Dr. Disrespect got swatted a couple times, and then somebody fired, I think it was a BB gun, but fired a gun at his house.
At his window.
So a lot of safety related things. You still had sort of the Ice Poseidons of the world poking around. I think he got punched at TWITCHCON last year.
Yeah.
So last year we started having, much more serious conversations with our clients as well as with Twitch about security. And, talking to Twitch about it last year, we were very impressed at the level of thoughtfulness they were taking for, some of the streamers and just making sure that people would be safe. And then this year, I think, both for everybody as well as the VIPs kind of moving around, it was very, very good on security. We had a couple of security-related incidents, one of them inside the show floor, one of them at one of our parties. Obviously, Twitch was not involved in that at all. We took care of that one. But the one that happened inside the show floor, Twitch was, as soon as we knew about it, Twitch representative was on the phone with me. We were talking through it. They had alerted all the security around the area to make sure everyone was ready. They worked with our team as well as the streamers' security to make sure that everything was taken care of, and it was taken care of in a way that I don't think anyone even noticed that it happened. But potentially a very dangerous situation was resolved, and certainly a stressful situation either way, by just fantastic work. And the same was true with T-Pain. The security, we had to sneak him in through sort of the back of the convention center, all of that stuff. But their security was super on it. I was texting with them, calling them. I was, it was wonderful. And so, everyone I talked to related to security, everyone who interacted with security there said to give thanks to Twitch for what they did. And yeah, so me too. and I've already sent them the email directly, but if you're watching still, Jay, thank you. Thank you guys. But I don't know what that means.
That is an Oliver issue. I did not make those bit.lys.
Damn it. So then on to Saturday.
One more thing I wanted to touch on about security is when you were entering the con, everybody had to go through a metal detector, which was awesome considering that there wasn't really ever any lines to get into the con. I mean, I wasn't there at 9 a.m. when the con opened, but from what I've heard, there was never really a line, so they were able to make sure that everybody was searched. There were no backpacks. No one was bringing things into the convention without it being this whole issue of everybody being upset and saying I can't get into the con, I can't see the programming that I need. So that was really great of Twitch to do, and they figured it out, and hopefully it'll continue to be that way.
Yeah, Xanatax, thank you so much for subscribing. Really appreciate that, man. And once again, if you subscribe to the channel, tip any bits, things like that, those are all used to buy things for giveaways for small streamers. We haven't done one of those in a while. We're due for it. So I'm going to yell at whoever's in charge of that after the show. But yeah, much appreciated, man. Thank you so much. So I generally eavesdrop on conversations that are happening around me. I can't help it. It's just I'm nosy. And, at past TwitchCons and every PAX, there's usually a pretty good amount of grumbling about like, oh, they're sold out of this thing, or I couldn't get in, or lines were too long. I really didn't hear much of any sort of negativity about it, which, again, coupled with my experience, the only time I had a problem at TwitchCon was because Twitch was trying to be too helpful, so they ended up screwing me one time. When I went to pick up my badge, it's like my I go to pick up my badge, and they're like, oh, your badge has already been picked up, and I'm like, no. And, so like, oh, this person will help you, this person, finally found someone I knew at Twitch, and they're like, oh, yeah, this person has your badge already, we'll just bring you another one. But, so it's like one of those hilarious things where it's like the only reason I got screwed was you guys were actually like trying to help me too much.
Yeah.
So, you just can't complain about that.
I think it was only on Wednesday where the lines were really deep, but I want to point out that was just because the people wanted to get the special sunglasses that you could get for picking it up on the first day. As soon as the sunglasses were out, everyone was like, I don't care. Anything after like 2:30 wasn't a big line.
Yeah, and I mean that's fine too, right? Like, especially if you're doing it on like day 0, right? So it's like Thursday. The goal is to have a line.
Yeah, like
on
what else
Thursday.
are you gonna do on Thursday?
Like get everyone their badges, because every person who has a badge Thursday doesn't have to stand in a line and miss any of the show. Mm-hmm. So overall, it went well. I mean, I remember last year in San Jose, I was having some meetings in the Marriott lobby, and there was a strike going on of the Marriott. And the line for TwitchCon actually like wrapped around the Marriott all the way back and then blocked the protesters. It was so long. And I was like, ugh, I am going to get my badge later. But it was in under 1 hour. Well, that's great, right? I mean, the whole process, is pretty good in general. And, they're getting better at every year, right? Like, when you were at a company where your primary job is not running events, like stepping in and running events is really difficult until you get the hang of it. I mean, I remember working at Sony, and we would do Sony Online, which is SOE Live's much smaller event, but still, it's like everybody's helping out. No one, I'm like, how do I work this machine? And everyone's like, it's just printing badges. Just hit the buttons. I'm like, never had to do this before, so it's kind of funny, but. Saturday, I was basically just in meetings all day Saturday, so my day was very boring. What did you do?
So Saturday we had a couple of our clients working at the Intel booth. Mm-hmm. So I went onto the floor to manage that. So we started with Anthony Kongfan. He did a PC build, and then Ava went right after him, also doing a PC build, except for Ava's didn't turn on at the end. So that was very sad. I think we have some pictures from that, but maybe they're not working. And then after that, we had a panel. Again, this was working with Intel, but it was how to work with brands, which was pretty cool. So we had Sacriel, Haley Nick, and Caliverse. And they were hand-selected because, you have different audience levels and people that have been doing this for years, a different amount of years. So they thought that this was like a good spread of perspectives on how to work with brands. It wasn't just talking about how to work with Intel. It was like, who did you first work with? How are you professional? How do you approach a brand and talk about how they can work with you? So that was pretty cool. That took most of my Saturday, and that went really well.
T-Pain was at the Alienware kiosk thing. Oh yeah, I did that for a fair amount Saturday, was actually rescuing T-Pain from behind the building, getting him in there and getting him up. My favorite part of that, which maybe in the chat this impacted you, was so we're walking up and I'm like, does anyone need to go to the bathroom? Because we're in kind of a chill area. Everyone's like, no. And then we walk into the public area and, immediately, I can't remember if it was T-Pain or one of his guys, like, I go to the bathroom, and then T-Pain goes to the bathroom too. And so then the convention security guy just shuts the bathroom down, and while they're in there, and it's just like
No one can
people are
go.
coming up. It's like, I mean, it's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. You never expect to run into a security guy, right? And he's just like, sir, you can't go in there right now. And he didn't say why. Like, it's not gonna be like, well, T-Pain's like taking a dump, right? Like, that's not what you do. So he's just like, no, it's closed right now. There's another bathroom over there, and you could just see the people's faces, like, is this a joke? It's like, is this really happening? But yeah, it was kind of entertaining. And we got T-Pain out there, and him and his team, man, they'd been filming some stuff. They were like pretty tired, and as they all got out of their like bus, I could just see it's like all of you need a nap, and then they're like, it's cool, we're doing it, we're ready for it. And then we get upstairs, and the Alienware thing was outside, and then just suddenly out of nowhere, which never happens in San Diego, it starts raining. Well, and it's just that like the 5 minutes where it's like stand off stage before you get announced. So we're just all sitting out there like.
I can't believe it. Sunny San Diego and it's raining.
Yeah.
Luckily, they did have some like coverage over where the audience was standing. I took a picture at that event too, but that was really fun. T-Pain was playing Cuphead.
Yep.
Which I think everybody expected him to pick a fighting game.
Yeah.
And then he was like, no, Cuphead, we're doing this. Which was actually a really great choice.
Yeah. It was his choice, right? They're like, you do whatever you want, man. Like,
Yeah.
you're T-Pain. Like, and he's like, I'm going to play some Cuphead.
So people from the audience got to go up and play Cuphead against T-Pain. And if they beat the boss before T-Pain beat the boss, then they would get an Alienware sweatshirt and then also a raffle ticket to win a PC.
Mm-hmm.
So they really wanted to win, but like T-Pain is a fierce competitor.
Yeah.
You could tell when he was playing, you're like, all right, he's been practicing this.
Yeah. No, that's the thing, man. Like, T-Pain practiced, like, he did a Rainbow Six thing at E3. He called me like the weekend before, and he's like, I need a new laptop like right now. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, my laptop, it overheated, it exploded, and I need it. And I'm like, okay, you need it right now? He's like, yeah, I only got like tonight and tomorrow to practice for this Rainbow Six thing, and I haven't played in a little while. It's like, all right, we'll find you a laptop, man. Like, that's a pretty good reason to need it. You brought the rain from Norway. Yeah, it was great to see you too, Johnny Scar. I'm sorry we didn't have more time to hang out, but always wonderful to see. I hope you had a great time. And then, yeah, we just had meetings and that kind of thing, and then got ready for the OPG party, which took up a lot of my time. But, okay.
Yeah, we did. We had a party, and this was sort of geared around celebrating our clients. They had VIP at the event, just making sure that they feel like they are, treasured, well taken care of. It's kind of like our thank you for allowing us to just help out with their business. And then we invited a bunch of industry people too, as sort of like a thank you for working with our clients. And here they are, and you can meet them if you want, and everybody can like meet and mingle and have a good time. And it was a great party.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was pretty great. We had sort of all of our clients that were in town coming in. Probably the one thing people kept saying was like, hey, why am I not VIP? And it's like, well, the only VIPs are our clients. And, for a lot of people, it's like I go to a party, most times I'm getting like the VIP whatever thing. A lot of the people that are more senior in the industry, you just get whatever the VIP is. So people were like, general admission when we sent the tickets over. It's like, why are you giving me general admission? And, but once, kind of explain, it's like this party is about them. It's really their party and we're just here. Everybody got it, and it was great. Like, the venue was pretty packed the whole time. It was a bar called Sidebar, and sort of like a small nightclub kind of chill place. We kept the party quiet, which was one of the most important things for me. The number one piece of feedback we hear about parties is they're too loud. Mm-hmm. I certainly am pretty vocal about this as well. It's like people come to these parties because they want to meet people. They don't want to lose their voice from yelling. And, they just want to have a chance to either, network and do some business, meet people they've done business with in the past, or just have a drink with an old friend. And it's pretty hard if, the music is just like blasting down on you.
Yeah.
So, we made that a rule. We said from the very beginning of planning the party, the only way it's ever going to be loud is if T-Pain wants to play. And turned out that he did. So we had special guest Grimecraft DJing through the quiet part, which I always feel a little bit bad about because it's like, you got an awesome DJ and then you're like, keep it down. But he did a great job. He's fantastic. And then, T-Pain just kind of snuck up there and DJ'd. And I don't know if you guys have seen T-Pain DJ, but it's its own experience, man. That guy can go.
I'm not much for like the DJ scene. I don't even like go to concerts, but I was having a great time. I was like, he's really good at this.
Violation of your Cinderella policy. Yeah, that's our lawyer, and and she was there to make sure that everybody stuck within the law at the part. No, she was there to have a nice time, and it was really cool too. Herman from Dragon Force actually interrupted the party pretty early on, and just like, what is this jackass doing? Like, he's like, turn off the music, turn off the music.
I was like cringing, like, what is happening? Is something going wrong?
And Herman, like, he wanted to talk a little bit about Dragon Force and the opening ceremony thing, and and he wanted to give OPG a copy of his gold record, which I think we showed a little earlier. I don't know, maybe somebody will bring it over to the studio and I can show you the actual thing. But it was really nice. It was like a total surprise. And he said some really nice stuff about us, which I really appreciated. So that was really cool. And so to have T-Pain, Dragon Force, all these fantastic people, our clients, streamers we love that aren't our clients, people in the industry that have, done a lot of business with us, as well as people that are making like really meaningful contribution to the industry. Like St. Jude was there. I saw them a bit. And, we really wanted to just say thank you to a lot of folks. So that's cool. If you go to the OP Group Twitter page, I think we retweeted like pretty much everything, like a bunch of great little video clips and people taking photos with T-Pain. T-Pain hung out for a bit afterward. I felt so bad, man. That dude was so tired. And so when it was just him and me talking, he's just like, tired. And then he's like, but don't worry about it. This is what I do. And so I'm like, all right, I'll go get some people. So he hung out for probably another half hour, an hour, just got to introduce him to folks as they came up and, chilled and chatted with them. And it was really cool. Then, he headed on back to LA where he had a show the next day, but
oh my gosh,
we weren't done yet.
We were not.
Another thing we did it last TwitchCon, sort of spur of the moment, because the hotel had that strike, and so a lot of the rooms were empty, and we're like, hey, why don't we just get one of the suites there and we can like turn it into like a hospitality station, for our clients where they can come up, they can hang out, have a drink, all of that stuff. And it went, T-Pain and Brian Kibler were sitting together for a little bit. Kibler wants to teach him to play Magic.
My gosh.
Yeah, so we got a suite in the Hard Rock, I think you call it the Diamond Suite or something. It's sick. Like, it's 2 bedrooms. It had a hot tub, like a giant deck.
Private hot tub.
Yeah, and we won't comment on what happened in that hot tub.
Nope.
Except for Shirt Guy.
What stays at the suite, that's not how that goes.
Yeah.
What happens at the suite.
Yeah, but what stays at the suite also stays at the suite, sort of tautologically. But yeah, I mean, just a really kind of chill party. It was just for clients and close friends. Like the goal was not to have like a big raging party, but after the OPG party, the after party was sponsored by 7-Eleven Pizza, which I guess #ad. But if you haven't had 7-Eleven pizza, like it's actually like pretty good.
I used to live on that stuff. They have like one that's a little bit spicy too, and I'm just like, I'm enjoying this.
Yep. Shirt Guy has joined the Hollowed Halls of Party Legend, right up there with Keyboard Guy. That is so true. So.
This was also good because a lot of the times the bars close after 2 o'clock, and then everyone's just kind of lost. Like, I guess we're going home. We want to still party, but there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So this was a perfect solution.
Yeah, and it's also, a solution to us for the safety concern.
Yeah.
Because most of our clients were staying in the Hard Rock, so, it would just be an elevator ride. The most dangerous place, like the safest place to be at TWITCHCON is on the show floor, right? Because people have gone through metal detectors, they've had to buy a ticket, all of this stuff, their ID has been verified in a few different ways. Like you can't take a gun in there, right? Like you just can't. So, if you're on the show floor, like the absolute worst thing that could ever happen to you is like someone takes a swing at you, and right away there's like 100 people around that are gonna be like, what the fuck, right? And so, you're really not in a lot of danger on the show floor. What scares me the most is at night. You're away from the main area, like, because there's cops all over there, but you're just in town. Everyone's had a few drinks. Like, that's when things can get dangerous. It's also when people are getting roofied and stuff like that. So when, the idea was everything's going to be closed, so people are all going to end up at like, IHOP or Brian's or something like that. And why don't we try, like, give people a place they can come and chill and, hey, we still have drinks, like, whatever you want to do, it's cool. But just make it about people they know, so it's, a nice, safe environment where people can spend the rest of the night. And yeah, so that party went till about 7 a.m. And about 7 a.m., there were like probably 5 or 6 people left. And Jen and I had decided we're just going to crash in the suite because, we were already there and my first meeting was at 10. So it was like, we're like, all right, remaining people who are here, who were mostly still in the hot tub, it's time for you to go. Not trying to be a dick, but it's like, all of our clients are gone.
The time has expired.
And one of the guys that was there was one of the people that I didn't know who, had been vouched for, so it was fine. But that was Shirt Guy. Shirt Guy
was still there?
Shirt Guy was there until the end. He's having probably the best night of his life, man. And
I don't know what this story is, but I feel like maybe Shirt Guy wasn't wearing a shirt.
Yes, Shirt Guy was not wearing a shirt. Not only was he not wearing a shirt, but he could not find his shirt.
Oh.
So, we're like kicking the people out of the hot tub, and everybody's like wrecked, obviously. And at this point we've been, kind of like for a little while. So, at some point it's just like, all right, guys, you gotta go. Like, you gotta go as quickly as possible. I'm sorry. And Shirt Guy probably spent about 5 hours in the hot tub. I mean, like the hot tub was actually like at like half water the next morning.
Oh
There's
my
like
gosh.
water everywhere. And so, it's a lot of people in various states of undress in there. We won't say who or what they were wearing, but, it's not like everyone brought a swimsuit because nobody knew. So Shirt Guy like stumbles out, wandering around trying to find his clothes. I think he finds his pants finally, but, he's like blindingly drunk. And so, everyone else is all sorted and leaving, and it's fine. And one person had to leave like soaking wet because all their clothes were on the ground near the hot tub, and the ground was like flooded, so all their clothes were soaking wet. So I felt bad about that too. But
yeah, glad his name isn't Pants Guy.
yeah, I know, right? So we're wandering around, because we gotta find Shirt Guy's shirt, right? Because we're getting real close to the point where Shirt Guy's going home without his shirt. Like that's how done I am with it. And finally, we're looking at all the rooms, looking everywhere, looking at the trash cans, can't find it. He finally like stumbles back in with soaking wet shirt. He's like, I found my shirt. It was in a bush. And I'm like, cool, buddy, get out. So that was Shirt Guy. Certainly sort of the high, and like people like that, like I don't mind, right? Like the guy's just having a good time. We did have one person, I can't remember if it was that night, I think it was the next night, we had to kick somebody out for, wasn't supposed to be there and was not being very respectful. No, I guess it was that night too.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and look, it's not acceptable anywhere, certainly not at one of our events. So that was a lot of fun. But then, the next day, obviously everyone got a late start. I was like super, super worried. What's up? Okay, we're pretending Jamar's not here. The next day, like my first meeting's at 10. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like getting ready to go to bed. And I get the message from the guys like, "Hey, I'm gonna have to cancel that meeting." I was like, "Yeah." So that was like the best thing that ever happened.
Well, so initially Intel had messaged me and been like, I think we want to move the panel to Sunday at 9 a.m. And we're like, no. Like, we can make sure our people get there, but no one's going to come watch this.
Yeah. Because, Saturday night, there's also the main Twitch party, right? Where, Blink-182 played because whatever that horse guy canceled.
Well, Blink-182 was always going to be there, but I think it was Logic stepped in for the horse guy. But
horse
Logic
guy.
went, like, really early, so, like, a lot of people were, like, planning to hit up other parties and then go to that one to see Logic, and they didn't get to, so, like, someone was really upset. It was Haley Nick. Haley Nick was really upset.
Well, I'm glad that, horse guy. We got shirt guy, we got keyboard guy, we got horse guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that party was great. I actually didn't get to go because we were doing party prep stuff for our thing. I know there were a few other parties that happened. That all sounded good. But, Saturday night is the Rager night at TwitchCon.
Yeah.
So, yeah, nobody was going to be up early, and I think everyone took it pretty easy Sunday. And we kind of knew that was going to happen. So we had the hospitality suite, which was full of cold pizza, and the 7-Eleven guys also brought this, like, new, I think it's called Replenish. It's kind of like a Gatorade-y sort of drink, and they brought a bunch of that. They're like, yeah, just if anyone wants to try it. And we're like, that is going to be so good tomorrow.
Yeah.
You have no idea
Give me
what
those
MVPs.
electrolytes.
Yeah, so people are like just pouring Pedialyte into those things, just chugging them. But we had we had the hospitality suite set up. Just food, drinks, little snacks, stuff like that. So people could just come in, chill out. Had that kind of going all day. And I think a lot of Sunday we're doing like press interviews and things like that. And then we did a bonfire, which is our San Diego tradition from last time there was TwitchCon. Last time TwitchCon happened, Jen and I had a little beach cottage near Mission Beach, right? So a few of our clients like Elohim and Cobalt Streak, I think Cobalt Streak went over to hang out, but Elohim is definitely staying there. A few other folks were staying there. So we're like, why don't we just do a bonfire like at the Bay? Because there's a bonfire guy in San Diego. Like he's like great. You just call him, you pay him whatever. It's like not expensive. He shows up, he has like nice beach chairs, sets up a bonfire for you, gives you extra firewood, sets everything and just leaves it, and then you call him when you're ready and he comes and picks it all up and takes it for you.
And that's one of the most annoying things about having a bonfire in San Diego is that you have to like reserve the spot.
Yeah.
You have to like get out there, claim it, and then just wait till nighttime.
Yep.
That's super cool that you have that guy though.
Yeah. So last time TwitchCon was here like 3 years ago, Cobalt Streak wanted to propose to his girlfriend.
Aww.
And had asked us for a little bit of help with how that could be done. We're like, why don't you do, like, we'll just, we'll throw this little party. It's like nothing about getting engaged. Just, you, your friends, whoever you want kind of on the list. It'll all just make sense. We'll hang out, drink, whatever. And then you can propose. And it was really sweet.
So
and
cute.
Actually, Twitch wrote about it, I think, last year on their blog. It's certainly up on their website, and it's like really cute. And so we decided, well, we're going to have a bonfire again this year. And then somebody who's not one of our clients, his name is Marty the Moth. He's a professional wrestler. I've started to kind of get to know him, through Tangent, one of our clients. And so we've just been chatting, and I told him, it's like, dude, if you need restaurant recommendations or anything, let me know. He's like, actually, I was thinking about proposing to my girlfriend at TwitchCon. Do you know any good spots? And I was like, well, you want to like fancy restaurant or a beach, whatever. He's like, I want to do it at the beach. I was like, well, we have this bonfire. It's like pretty chill. Last time somebody proposed there and it went pretty well. So you'd be more than welcome to come because you'll know some people there. And he's like, yeah, no worries. So he came. He's like a really great guy. Him and his now fiance, super sweet. And she, he pranked her so hard. He's like, oh, let's just go take some pictures or whatever. He's like, oh, maybe take the picture. He like switches it onto video recording, and he's like, it's all set up. You don't have to push anything. And I'm like, yeah, I understand what's happening here. And then he just proposed. It was really sweet.
That's awesome.
And
look how cute.
Yeah. And then we all just hung out, and then we went back to
So I should go to the bonfire next year, is what you're saying.
Well, it depends what your goals are in life.
Everybody go to the bonfire.
But yeah, Marty's like a super nice guy, and we'll probably have the bonfire again next year, and so we're gonna be letting people know that we're 2 for 2 on engagements there, just FYI. But yeah, it was great. It's like a chill, it's kind of away from the convention, so it's like our own little time. And then we all popped back to the Hard Rock, hung out for a bit. Corsair threw a absolutely epic party. Again, at the float.
At the float, yeah. I also heard that the music levels there were good.
Yes.
So you could talk to people.
Can we help with any of the other parts of proposing, like finding someone to propose to? Sure. Yeah, just we can get on that.
Yeah, sure.
Just put your preferences in chat, and we'll start working.
We're now opening the OPG dating service.
Yeah.
We can help out Sir Slaw as well.
Well, there you go. We're all set. Cardboard Cowboy. Did you meet Sir Slaw? But yeah, are we going to ride the roller coaster next year? Look, riding the roller coaster was not in the plan. Just got to rally people because it's just right there.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Full service management.
It's a little magic happening in chat right now. But yeah, then we headed back and went to the Corsair party, which was fantastic. Again, yeah, really chill, good music, good people, all of that stuff. Just kind of what you expect. And then headed back up for the after party at the hospitality suite and just hung out there. It was not as raucous a night as the night before. The shirt guy was nowhere to be found because we did track down his identity and gave a bunch of shit to the person who had invited him. And that person was like, I tried to yell at him today, but he had already gotten back on his boat because he's in the Merchant Marines or something.
Oh.
This is like, this guy he's like E.T. He just like shows up out of nowhere, like rides on his flying bicycle, touches a whole bunch of people's lives in a special way, and then he's back on his ship. But
maybe he'll come back next year.
Maybe he will. We'll have him at the door greeting everyone and apologizing in advance. Shirt Guy probably has some other, like that probably was not even in the top 5 nights for Shirt Guy. Like, let's face it.
He's like, eh.
But yeah, just a nice chill party there. I don't remember how late that went. It still also went pretty late.
Yeah.
I just don't think it was 7 a.m. I think it was more like 4 or 5.
I just saw some pictures of people playing Magic.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of people playing Magic, nerds.
Nerd.
But that's what the space is for, right? It's for whatever people want.
We skipped that part.
We
That's
didn't.
Right.
It's just below that in our notes. So the last thing we want to talk about is the closing ceremony of TWITCHCON.
Yeah, so this is Twitch Yearly, which I'm always a sucker for. I always go because it sort of is like, it's a nice send-off for the year, a nice end of TWITCHCON, and it gets you like all in your feels. It's a little emotional. If you don't know, Twitch does a show every Friday, before ours actually, called Twitch Weekly.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, and this one is called Twitch Yearly. So I like to go every year, and this year they started off by explaining that they dubbed this year the year that everybody gets it. And they actually talked about lifts and taxis as well, having to explain what you did as a job, as a Twitch streamer to your taxi. And then this year it was like, oh, yeah, so tell me about Fortnite, or like tell me about Ninja, like the people understood it. And so they celebrated that by highlighting some of the creators that have been on the platform or creating content for 10 years. So our very own Dodger, or Dex Bonus, got to deliver a speech at Twitch Yearly. And so this is a photo of her on the stage, and she talked very well just about how far content creation has gone. And then there was also a video that Towley was featured in, talking about how, like, I guess a kid had come up to him and his mom had no clue how they knew each other, and he was just like, I know your son from the internet. And he was like, I almost got arrested that day. So that was a really cool video.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that people have been doing this for 10 years now, but you know, this is a career. Like it's become very viable, right? Like people are making a good amount of money. Some people are making a ton of money, but there are a lot of people that I think one of our clients described themselves as being a working class Twitch streamer. You know, meaning that they're not getting like these $1 million checks from Mixer or whatever, but you know, they're making a living. They can, you know, afford things. They can, you know, save up, buy a house, stuff like that, because they have that level of audience. They have that level of career, and it's pretty crazy to think about, right? But if you think about Hollywood, it's sort of the same. You know, there's all the Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt type people, but there's also those guys that, you know, you see them on every show, right? Like Stephen Tobolowsky or somebody who, you know, plays a character that you kind of recognize on every show, you know, and that guy makes a good living. You know, he's not making millions of dollars every time he shows up somewhere, but, you know, there's a lot of careers out there that just wouldn't exist without Twitch, including everybody at OPG.
Yep.
So, you know, that's one of the things that I'm always grateful for, that I think TwitchCon really puts into perspective a lot more than, say, like VidCon or any of the PAXs, is how much the Twitch community sort of like brings this all together and really cares about each other. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's the thing that I see a lot more at the show than anywhere else, is just that feeling of, you know, this is a group. Like, this is a community. It's you know, almost like a team, you know. And we always talk about, like, don't be fooled by people who talk about you like they're your friends or they're your family or whatever. But, you know, that's when it comes to business, you know. But I think that people genuinely do care for each other in the Twitch community. And, you know, you don't find a lot of places that you can work that are like that. Hey, Druid's Fire, how you going? I saw Cardboard Cowboy asked how many hours of sleep I got during the entire convention.
Oh.
Certainly less than 20, possibly less than 10. I haven't really counted it.
That's what you do, though. I mean,
yeah,
it's like a superpower for you. I don't understand.
Well, the way I look at it, you know, I was talking to somebody. I was talking to somebody at one of the late night things, and, you know, talking about like the value of your time and, you know, putting your effort where it goes. It's like, you know, you choose how you spend every minute of your life. Mm-hmm. You know, you can spend it doing whatever you want, you know, but when you have the opportunity to be around the kinds of people you want, like, spend those minutes carefully. You know, it's like, I can sleep later. You know, yeah. I've been sleeping this week, believe me. You know, I've almost got my voice back. But, you know, like, that's why I always stay up late. And that's why, you know, even though it was like Tuesday and people are still in town, you know, we're still having meetings or still getting drinks, things like that. Because, you know, a lot of these folks, like, you won't see them for months or years. Or, you know, some of them you may never see again. And it makes sense, right? Like, to spend that time where it's going to be most effective. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately for my sleep schedule, you know, but yeah, it's fun, and I don't, it is a good superpower to have, I'd say.
So I'd love to hear from the chat what their favorite parts of TwitchCon were, if they had any compliments, any pros or cons. I think we kind of talked about everything we were planning on talking about.
Yeah, any questions? I'm trying to think through other things that happened. Justin Roiland told me he wanted to come to our party, but he was out of town.
Rip.
It's okay.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, I figured he'd want to hang out with T-Pain. So yeah. They're like buddies now. But no, it was really cool. Really cool to see a bunch of people. Like, there are a bunch of people sort of in the Twitch community that, like, don't come out to every convention. So, you know, you see them sort of once a year at TwitchCon. Mm-hmm. I thought it was really interesting that we had two clients that I don't know if I saw either of them at all, because they both had booths. You know,
right.
Grand Pooh Bear had a booth on the floor. Mm-hmm. So did Dodger. You know, very different kinds of things they were doing, but, you know, awesome to see that, like, their businesses were mm-hmm. just sort of there being represented as well.
Jamar says that Artist Alley was fun, which is where Dodger's booth was.
Yeah.
And that was one of my favorite parts of the con. It was in the sales pavilion, so you have all of this natural light coming in, and just all of these booths from these Twitch creators. Like, not only are they selling their merch, but like they make these things on stream. And it was just so cool to just spend time there, get little gifts for people. I spent a little too much money there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did. And then I can't remember who was saying on Sunday, you know, because people kind of cut their prices to, you know, make sure that things get done. And somebody was like, I just spent all my money. They had so much stuff. But it was really cool. There was a good Magic the Gathering presence. I know that
There was.
you know, the Magic players that we know spent a good amount of time on that. Yeah, if you wanted to meet anyone, you'd be more than likely to run into them. Yeah, and that was cool too. I mean, I was sitting in one of the lounges with Kip Boga, and Dr. Lupo came in, and you know, everybody's like, "Oh, it's Dr. Lupo, right?" And you know, and Kip Boga leans over, he's like, "Oh man, it's Dr. Lupo." You know, it's like, I'm like, I could introduce you if you want. And he's like, and Dr. Lupo walks right up to Kip Boga. He's like, "Oh my God, I'm such a fan." And they just like hug, and they're like hanging out, and I was just like,
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was nice.
This is what I call my Dr. Lupo shirt, because he has this same shirt. And so I'm just always, every time I wear this, I'm like, I'm Dr. Lupo today.
But did you steal it from him?
No, he still has his. But we get to be twins sometimes.
I think my favorite thing was probably when I got the gold record from Herman, because that was really sweet. But my second favorite thing is also related to Dr. Lupo. So I was sitting in the lounge talking, and he was kind of doing his own thing, and then he just, you know, kind of starts yelling at me, and he's like, you know, "Omid, I saw you yesterday." And it's like really creepy the way he said it. It's like, "I saw you." I'm like, "Okay, well," and he's like, "You were sitting at this table at the Hard Rock, and you know, you were sitting with this person, and I was driving by, and I just want you to know that I saw you." And I was like, I feel very threatened right now. I was like, I don't understand what's happening. And then the next day, I was sitting at that same table because, you know, I just have meetings, like people kind of come in and out, people walk by, and, you know, it's like a good spot to meet people. And then I just get a text message from T-Pain. He's like, "Dude, I just drove by you." And then I look up and I see his like giant black bus thing like going by, and I was like, "Yep." So that was weird. Favorite party was the OP party and Zeke's party. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice. Need more hand sanitizer for sure.
Yeah, there was at one point where, like, I try to be as prepared as possible. I try to have a battery charger, like water on me. But Sacriel needed hand sanitizer, and I was like, why don't I have this? So I had to go and search for that.
Yeah.
I guess Cardboard Cowboy saw you too.
Yeah, I saw him a couple times.
That's always creepy when you get a text message. I do it too, though. Like, I'll see my friend and then I'll text them like, "I see you," or like Snapchat them their face.
I just have a picture of the Eye of Sauron that I send with that. It's like, "I see you."
Perfect.
Because it's always somewhere like kind of weird, and it's always yeah, I do. I have a favorite table at pretty much every convention.
Yeah.
Certainly a favorite place to hang out. You know, and it's usually just based on being far enough away from the convention that there's not like just infinite random people. Like, you know, if you go to the restaurant that's like attached to the convention, then it's full. You know, there's a waiting list or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and it's also really good if the place is just kind of chill. You know, it's like a coffee shop or something, or a bar where, you know, they don't really care if you're there for a long time as long as you're, you know, ordering some drinks and stuff. And then also, you know, there's just these spots that kind of all the business people find because for exactly the same reason. So you're all kind of in the same place. So between meetings, you can like catch up with everybody and see everybody. So yeah, definitely have my place at pretty much every show. And yeah, that one was fun. The waitress was just like mystified by what was going on. She's like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "I don't know, man." But yeah, I mean, it's one of the places that I get to feel kind of cool, so I like it. But it was really great, and you know, big highlights for me, Kip Boga being there was a big highlight because he doesn't come to a lot of stuff. So I was excited to get to kind of introduce him to people and just see the like level of love and respect people have for what he does. Like, was very impressive. But it was so good to see everybody. I think the convention went, pretty much without a hitch for us. It was busy and the team worked super hard. And we had a lot going on. So a lot of it I didn't even, it was weird to be told that you're now going to a party at your own house and be like, I don't know anything about it really. It's like, okay, that's cool.
Let's go.
But like that, there's just so much going on, for OPG, like TWITCHCON is always going to be, a very special place for us. And, I was really glad for everybody that I got to see, that you guys took the time to kind of chat with us. I know the same is true of our employees. We're kind of given the team this week pretty, not off, but, gave them a couple days off and the rest of the week's kind of chill. But, next week we're jumping back into it, doing the postmortem, what went right, what went wrong, what do we need to do better. Of course, since TWITCHCON 2020 has been announced as already being in San Diego, we're pretty thrilled about that, so we're already starting to work on what our plans will be for next year.
Yeah, we can get a really good head start and make it a really good show for everybody. But we know this city, we know what's good.
Yep.
One of the favorite things that I had this con was that like everybody trusted my advice on where to go.
It's a bad idea, but yeah.
There was one night where like I ended up at the Shout House with some friends, and that place is incredible.
Yep.
It's like a dueling piano bar, tons of fun, but you're gonna lose your voice.
Yep. We went there. I know one we didn't talk about. Alaskan Savage's wedding.
Oh my gosh, how did we miss that?
It just got lost in here.
Alaskan Savage got married on day 0, in case you guys didn't know.
Yep.
Congratulations to him.
You reminded me with the Shout House because day -2 was Savage's bachelor party.
Oh, is that where they went?
Well, they went a lot of places.
Oh, okay.
They did like a wine tour and hung out, and then by the time I caught up with them around like 8 or something like that, they were not at the Shout House, they were somewhere else, and then we walked to the Shout House.
Oh, okay.
And that's when Cardboard Cowboy came over and met us, which was awesome. Guys, if you don't follow Cardboard Cowboy, he's a phenomenal streamer. He's an okay streamer, but he's got some really interesting stuff he does on his stream. He's totally worth checking out. But yeah, the Shout House, like one of my favorite places. So we hung out there for a bit. And
Did they pull him upstage?
No.
Aw. They usually do. I mean, when I went, there was some craziness happening on the stage. That's like half the fun. You're like, this is not happening right now. I
one time made my boss get on stage and then made them play It's Rain Men. And I have some real good pictures. I mean, he was fine with it. He was totally fine with it. Not so fine were the Taiwanese girls that we were with who, they spoke English, but they don't know a ton about English culture. And then their boss made them get up and dance the Baby Got Back.
Oh.
So that was awkward. Because they don't know what that song is about. The whole night was pretty weird, but that was a little while ago. Yeah, I guess for good learning for next year, having spare emergency shirts. That would have solved the shirt guy problem for sure.
Well, also, I guess Shout House doesn't let you, you need sleeves to go to Shout House.
Yeah.
So one of our friends, was like, I need a shirt. And I'm like, I'm wearing a tank top and it's fine. That's not sexist.
Oh, yeah. Will we be at PAX South? Probably. We haven't thought that far ahead yet, man. But, we have been to every PAX South, so I'd say it's reasonably likely. This year, though, I'm a little on the fence about South and East.
Yeah.
East especially because it's in February, and I used to live in Boston, and if you've ever seen the show Game of Thrones, there's that wall, and there's the things that are north of the wall. Boston is north of the wall in February. Like, there was a time in March, it was like a few PAXs ago, I went to see one of my friends, and I was there a couple days early, and I was trying, because we live in San Diego, so I found my old Boston coat, dusted it off, but I couldn't find gloves or a hat. So I'm like, I'll just go buy them somewhere. And literally every store I went into, they'd been sold out of gloves for like a month. You know, one of them, like the Marshalls in like downtown Boston, I was like, I'm looking for gloves, and the lady just starts laughing at me. And I'm like, but I need gloves. And she's like, you could buy baseball mitts. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding? Like, and I thought about it. I was like, thought about buying 2 baseball mitts and wearing them because it was that cold. And then I went and I was talking to a friend of mine that lives there, and he wasn't wearing gloves either. And I was like, where are your gloves? And he's like, okay, so I was trying to get my car out of this like block of ice, and in the process I like jammed my hand into the ice accidentally, and went to get it out, I had to take it out of the glove, and I couldn't get the glove out. Like, and I'm just like, where are we? Like, this sounds like hell, not Boston. So I'm a little concerned about doing it in February. It's the only reason that we're thinking about, like, you know, I'm thinking about not going. Like, we haven't actually had any discussions about it. I just don't want to go to Boston in February.
I saw a tweet the other day that's like, why don't we just have it in Antarctica?
Yeah. I mean,
might as well.
Yeah, you might as well. Like, it's legit. It can legitimately be awful in Boston that time of year. So I'm not sure exactly what happened. And they must have lost a bet or something. But
because last year was in April.
Yeah, it's usually in like late March or early April, and even in late March it can be really rough. Like, that's the one where my friend couldn't get his glove out. Was in April or in March. April's like tolerable usually, but
April
still
was
cold.
A little bit better, but like especially for San Diegans, we're still like.
Yeah.
Tyler went. It was Tyler's like first time on the East Coast. He was not having fun. But Tyler's a really nice dude, right? So like you'll never see him not smiling. But when he got home, he's like, no, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's no, and because he's from Southern California, there's like no way you can prepare somebody for like Boston winter. Like, because when I moved back there, I'd lived in San Diego for like 6 or 8 years, but I'm from the East Coast, so it's like, oh, you know, it'll be fine. You know, I'll get used to it again. And then like we're there in like March or April, standing outside waiting to get into something. I've got on all of my heaviest clothes, and the wind hits me, and it's just like I wasn't wearing anything. I was like, fuck this place. You know, that was like day one. You know, that was before it started snowing, and you have to shovel snow. That's like a real thing.
That's weird.
Yeah, it can be rough.
He says,
please don't send me back to Boston. Yeah. I mean, in February, man, it's gonna be weird. But no, I love PAX South. I love going. You know, seeing everybody. There's some good restaurants there, stuff like that. So I mean, we'll probably be at both shows. But yeah. February, man. I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, there's not going to be a gaming convention in Minnesota. I had to go to Minnesota for a Micro Center thing, and it was below 0. So.
Yeah, that's another place that's north of the wall. You know. So yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on, but you know, San Antonio will be nice. It's always nice in January. It can be a little chilly, but you know, it's right by the water, so. Won't be too bad, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of this year, where I think the only thing left is BlizzCon, and I may go up there for a day and chill, but other than that, back to work. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I think we've like technically gone over convention season.
Yes.
We're past that. Now we just need to set everything up for the holidays.
Yep. So on that note, I think we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. It's wonderful to see you. Thanks for listening to us talk about TWITCHCON. It was wonderful to see the folks that came. Hopefully we'll see you guys next year or at one of the other shows. Thank you very much, Janessa.
It was awesome talking to you guys. I loved hanging out with you guys at TWITCHCON, and until the next one, goodbye.
Goodbye. Whoa, look at that.
Whoa.